Everything is not for everybody. You be thinking you missing out on something, and you're really not missing out on nothing. It's just not for you. Yeah. Things are meant for certain people. Everything is not for everybody. Everything is not for you. Some things are your cup of tea. Some things are not my cup of tea. Some things that you like, I might not like. And when people start to understand that, people start to have another sense of acceptance that everything isn't for me. Everything isn't for you. The stuff that I like, you might not like. The stuff that I want to do, you might not want to do. To each his own. And I think sometimes people try to project certain things onto you, or try to make you feel like a certain way about certain things that you don't entertain, you don't indulge in, certain things that you don't do. But it's really, you have to know, to each his own. You have to know that something that I might be okay with, or I might want to do, or I might like, that other people might not like. The way that I look at things, the next person don't look at it the same way. And you come in, things come in, that comes into play, and things come into play where you get to another understanding, another acceptance, another meaning to know that everybody is really different. Everybody is not the same. Everybody don't want the same things. Everybody aren't entertained by the same things. It's just not for everybody. It's just might not be their cup of tea. And that's totally fine. That's the next step. You have to understand that that's totally fine, that you have that right to, that you have the okay to, that you don't need permission to not agree or not like something that somebody else does. And vice versa. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like what I like. You don't have to agree with what I agree with either. That's your opinion. That's your right. You have the right to feel that way. You have the right to want something that I don't want. And I have the right to accept it, and I have the right to refuse it also. So you gotta understand that too. That's not what I want. That's not what I see. Then deuces. Then, feel me? Exit stage left. Go that way with that. That's not what I want. That's not how I feel. That's not what I like. That's not what I'm gonna adapt to and change my mind to. That's just not for me. And understanding that some things aren't for you, and people understanding that some things aren't for them, and coming to that acceptance and that understanding and that common ground, and it kind of not being an issue, and people not making it an issue, and understanding that this is an issue, understanding that this might be for that person, and that person might like that, and they have the right to. They got a right to feel the way they feel. They got a right to want the things they want, and they got a right to not want the things that they want. So it's really not up to you. You got to understand that too. It's not up to me to make this person agree with what I agree with. It's not up to me to change their mind. It's not up to me to make a beef or try to make it an issue because they don't want to. That's not aligning with them. That's not what they want. That's not what they don't have the same vision that I see, that I have. They don't see the same things that I see. They don't see it the way that I see it. And that's okay. That's totally okay. It's totally okay. But you have some people who kind of don't understand that, and you kind of have to remind them. You kind of have to come into play with like, no, that's not it. Come into play with like, as much as you feel that way, and I appreciate you feel that way, and I know you feel that way, this is the way that I feel, and this is what I want, and this is the way that I see it, and I don't see it the way that you see it, and I don't want to do it the way that you want to do it. I want to do it the way I want to do it. I want to see it the way I want to see it, and I don't want to change my mind, and I don't want to adapt, and I don't want to try to change it, and I don't want to figure out, and I don't want to learn the way that you're doing it, and I don't care the way that you're doing it. It's not for me. It's just not for me. And I think it's kind of hard for some people to swallow that everything is not for everybody, everything is not meant for everybody, and come to the conclusion. It's like kind of still, and sometimes it's like, let's just think of me. And sometimes it's like going in circles until you kind of get to your point. So it's kind of better to just be like straight to the point, straight, direct, straight. Let's not beat around the bush, straight. It's not for me, it's for you. Because when you don't get straight to the point, and when you don't kind of make it clear, when you don't kind of not beat around the bush, then people will feel like, then it comes into play where people feel like it's a problem. Then it'll come into play where people will feel like they could change your mind. Then it'll come into a space where it's like trying to make somebody feel bad or feel guilty for them feeling like something is just not for them. And they don't want to adapt. They don't want to learn about it. They don't care about it. It's just not for them. They just don't want nothing to do with it. They just don't want to change their mind. They're just tunnel vision to how they feel, the way they feel, what they want, and what they feel is for them and just not for them. People will try to make that a problem. And the best way to avoid that coming into play, avoid the problem even starting, is it's just not for me. It's just not for me. It's for you. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. It's just something that I'm just gonna give a no to. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And then people try to make you feel like you don't have the right to feel that way. You don't have the right to stand on what you feel, stand on what you're saying, and actually mean what you're saying. Like, no. To each his own. You are entitled to that. You are okay for not wanting to. You have the right to not want to. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You don't have to. You don't have to adjust. You don't have to change your mind. You don't have to try to persuade anybody to think that, okay, this isn't your cup of tea. This is actually your cup of tea, and that's not your cup of tea. And this is for you, and you might not think it's for you. It's not for everybody. Everything is not for everybody. Some things that you're comfortable with, I'm not comfortable with. Some things that you might do, I might not do. Some things that you're okay with, I might not be okay with. Some things that I'm okay with, you might not be okay with. So, to each his own. Everything isn't for everybody. And I think when a lot of people in the world could kind of come to that conclusion and understand that, it'll just be a better place. A little bit. A little bit maybe. Because the world is just, I don't know what's going on with the world right now. The world is just, it has a mind of its own right now. It's just outrageous. It's really, yeah, it's giving me a bad taste in my mouth. It's really, that's what I could say. But for the most part, it's good. You healthy, you breathing, you living, doing what you need to do, you reaching your goals, you living your life. You get into the bag. You doing what you want to do to an extent, because with all of the shenanigans and all the stuff that they trying to take over, all the stuff that they want to be in control over, all the stuff that they don't want us to have, everything that we do have, they want a piece of, or they just, yeah, so that's a different story. That's a whole different story. But yeah, the world just, that's the only thing I could kind of say about the world right now. The world has a mind of its own right now, and for that, you just have to try to control as much as you can control. Be in the best type of scenario that you can set up for yourself possible. The best way that you see everything. Think about the future, but also live in a moment. They're kind of trying to get us into not trying to live for right now. So don't let them stop you from don't let them stop you from living right now. Don't let them stop you from doing the things that you want to do right now. you know, make sure the future is secure as much as possible, because you kind of, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. Ever since CV, you know, happened, CV-19 happened, is just kind of, you know, all over. But it's like a lot of stuff that you should have been doing, that's what that's what kind of came into play, where a lot of people had the time to actually see the things that they should have been doing, that they should have been paying attention to, the things that they didn't make time for, that they took for granted. So it did a kind of bad and good thing, because it opened a lot of people's eyes. It made a lot of people turn up. It made a lot of people finally do what they wanted to do what they needed to do. I had no, one thing I knew I always wanted to do books. I loved writing. I loved music. So I did those things way before CV-19 happened, and that was because I wanted to do those things, and I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of it, a job or this or that or whatever the case may be. So I'm actually happy that a lot of people could, you know, follow my steps that I was putting out before, to make your book, publish your book. I see a lot of now with 2022, which is so good to see. And inboxes I got too, that was like, okay, I inspired them to write their own book and stuff like that, or how did I write my book, and people having the time to take for themselves, the time to take for their family, the time to get their goals done, the time to figure stuff out, and kind of stop being in a robot mode of go, 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 work, 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 work. Not having that, even having that actual luxury to take a break. It actually gave some people some time. It was some bad too, you know, a lot of people lost their lives, all types of stuff, but it was actually some good too. A lot of people were able to actually take a break that they probably couldn't take before. They could actually have some time to themselves that they normally wouldn't have had. That they had time to have a clear mind, minus the BS that was going on, minus, you know, trying to wear whatever and be on be on 1,000 even more to protect yourself. They had that, they had that space, they had that time, they had that freedom for a little while to figure it out, to readjust, to plan, to execute, to actually accomplish, to do it, to get it done, to become self-aware, become present, be in the moment, be happy, be with yourself, not be at a job 24/7, not being around people 24/7, not having to answer to anybody 24/7, not have to give anybody an explanation 24/7. All of those things, like, I think a lot of people take those things for granted. Those are really big things. I like a lot of those things because that's a lot of things I don't like to do. And to be in control of their life for a moment, for that moment of time, for that time to be spent with their children, that time to cook a meal and just sit down for the rest of the day and don't have to rush to go somewhere, don't have to rush to go to work, don't have to rush to be go, 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 don't have to rush to feel like you can't take a break, to like, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna have this. If I don't do X, Y, and Z and get X, Y, and Z, the kids aren't gonna have food for ABC or something like that. And now I can make the dinner at 6 o'clock instead of me having to rush to make it at 2 o'clock because I have to work second shift, or make it at 1 o'clock because the kids are getting out of school at such and such, then I won't have time to do this and I won't have time to do that because they come home and I have to prepare this and they have to do their homework, and then I have to get them to bed by a certain time. I have to get them in the bath. I have to hurry up because then I have to do a night shift or I have to go to work in the morning, and then I have to, oh, child, take a break, take a breather. To have that luxury, to take that breather, even though, like I said, we had the bad and stuff also, but to be able to have that time that you might not have had been able to have before, and actually take, hopefully a lot of people took full advantage of it. Oh, I know some people that was just lazy with that mess, but you took full advantage of it and you were able to even be lazy if you did want to, but not too much of a lazy, but you know, take that break, that woosah that you needed to take, because you haven't had the chance or the opportunity to take that woosah because you've been on go so much. You haven't been able to take that time for yourself. So to have that opportunity and be able to excel in that and write a business plan, execute that business plan, have those ideas, execute those ideas, have that family time, and don't have to schedule that family time. It's just family time, family time, family time, one-on-one time. Take that break, being by yourself, not having to answer to anybody, not having to rush to anybody, not having to listen to somebody else. Just listen to your own thoughts, listen to yourself, listen to how you feel at the time, listen to nothing but quietness, but alone time, but a peace of mind. A lot of people got a peace of mind with C19. Nobody talks about that. A lot of people got that peace of mind somewhat with the C19. Had that break, time for yourself. So, yeah, what I say, the world right now is you kind of can't put your finger on it. But like I said, still think about the future, prepare for the future, but don't let them get in your head to not live for the moment right now and live for you and do the things that you want to do right now too. So don't get so wrapped up because of everything that you see out there, you see on the news, that you forget to do the things that make you happy, do the things that you want to do right now because you're so busy worrying about or thinking about something, God forbid, is going to happen that's bad or as worse as what we've seen before. Live and do for you, but also always remember those precautions, prepare, set yourself up and stuff like that, but don't let them overdo it, and you don't overdo it yourself either. You make sure you take that time off for yourself. You make sure you make those plans, you reach those goals, but don't get so caught up in too much of it and forget about yourself. So still put yourself first, regardless of what might be going on right now with this whole world and just a whole mess. Still put yourself first. Okay.